This is starting to be a pattern. Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and I'm starting to feel a little embarrassed by how often this particular drama plays out. My wife will ask me a question about my retirement. I say, I don't know. Then she says something that amounts to, we'll get on it. And then I find out that there's, something that I didn't really pick up on during my transition assistance classes. This time she asked me if I was going to get a leave and earnings statement as a retiree. It turns out that you do get something called a Retiree Account statement, an RAS. And there's this weird little thing about how allotments are handled that it's good to know before you go through your transition. But like most government websites, getting to it is not the most intuitive process. First of all, if you don't have a CAC card, you have to log into DFAS using your login ID. And I don't know why, but my login ID is my old AKO email address. You know, from back in like 2003 when they'd let you pick your own username. Anyways, when I log in, I come to a screen that identifies me as a separated active duty account. I can still see my personal statement of military compensation, my historical LESs, and related tax information. But nothing here jumps out at me as a retiree account. Trick is, you have to select choose an account. And when you do, you'll see that as a retiree, you actually have two DFAS accounts. The historical one that pops up first and the retiree one. So when you go to your retiree account, you've got the usual things on the left-hand side. Taxes, court orders, verification of pay, that actually is going to come in handy later. And you can look at your annual and monthly retiree account statement. Here you can see your pay summary, your allotments, tax info, your survivor benefit program coverage, and some general point of contact information. So yes, Stephanie, you do get something like an LES in retirement. Now here's what I find weird about my allotments. They roll over from my LES to my RAS. And at the end of the day, it didn't cause any problems, but I don't know, financial surprises never seem to be good. For me, I had a pretty large allotment to cover a particular liability. And it was so big that it made the first couple of my pension payments seem really tiny. That actually was what my wife's concern was about my pension in the first place. She thought that it had been miscalculated and we weren't going to get as much as I had thought. The other way that this allotment situation could have caused a problem would have been if I hadn't known that it happened. Let's say that before I retired, I had an allotment paying for a car loan. And then after I retired, I assumed that the allotment stopped, and so I just started writing checks to the loan company. Trust me, the bank would be happy to take both the allotment and that check, and they would be in no hurry to stop me. So, as you approach your military retirement, I think there's two things that you need to do. Number one, check your allotments about 3 or 4 months before you actually retire, and make sure that they're set up the way you want them once you're retired. And number two, as soon as you are retired, go to the DFAS website and check the status of your retiree account statement. Oh, and if you figure out how to make the retiree account the default when you log into the DFAS website, I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a comment for me and everybody else. In the meantime, check out this video to see why I think the SkillBridge program is at risk and what you can do to make sure you don't lose out on this great opportunity.